It's time for Alphabet Soup.
Hey guys, my name is Cam, I go by they, them, and today I am joined by my co-host Nova, who uses they, he pronouns, and our guest Suva, who uses she, they pronouns. Today we're going to be talking about Suva's experience with being LGBTQ+, and how that might have affected their life growing up. How are you guys today?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
Alrighty, great. So I'm going to do our first question, which is, how did you discover you were LGBTQ+, if you did? So, yes.
You skipped one.
I did? How do you identify?
I identify as a bisexual.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now do I get to get to the how did you figure it out question?
Yeah, now you can ask about the gay awakening. It's fine.
Right. So yes, how do you identify? I just asked that. How did you discover you were LGBTQ+?
Mine was kind of complicated. It wasn't like hard, but in like 6th grade, I had a crush on my friend. I'm like, there's no way I have a crush because of like internalized homophobia, and for like the next 3 years, I was just like, there's no way I'm gay, like because like I don't care if my friends are, but when it came to me, I was like, there's no way I can actually date a woman without being weird. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can date a woman, but I can't definitely not like sleep with them or something. And then so I thought I was biromantic for a bit, and then I'm like, no, I can do those things. And even though sometimes I'm still like there's still internalized homophobia, probably from the way I was raised. It's like I feel more open about it. Like not open, but it's like I can understand myself. Because when it comes to others, I'm understanding, but when it comes to myself, I'm like, okay, this is weird. This is not normal for me. Because I've been straight for like 14 years.
Yeah, you're still learning to like accept yourself and like understand yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a hard thing, especially with how heteronormative our society is. Because you're taught that, like, a lot of people aren't even taught that being gay or bi or anything else is an option.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize that you don't align with the heteronormativity, and then you're like, what's wrong? Like, this isn't okay. And then you have to, like, teach yourself that it is okay, and, like, you are just being who you are.
Yes, I went to a super Orthodox Jewish thing, and no slight to them, by the way. They're like the most lovely people ever, and I love them so much. But the way that it's taught is really interesting to me, because there were a certain number of commandments, and only men can complete some commandments, but only women can complete other commandments. And when you marry, you're supposed to, you assume the commandments of your spouse. What I had never really been taught that before, because I never was I never practiced Judaism. I just appreciated culture and stuff because that was how I was raised. But I was learning about that, and it was really clicking with me how this can seriously affect people. Like, if you really are raised in that religious mindset of like, this is what it's going to take to ascend or whatever, I can see how that would give you an internalized, like, I have to marry the opposite gender, or I'm not gonna be complete in this life. I'm gonna have to repeat it. Like, I can really see how that could affect somebody.
Yeah, like I was taught it was wrong. Like not only was it like initially when I was like growing up, I didn't even know they existed, and then when I found out like LGBTQ people existed, I thought it was like completely wrong. Because that's how toxic sometimes Indian society is just that toxic. And then when you come over here, when like after I immigrated here, I was like, wait, this is a thing. And then people started teaching me that thing is bad.
Yeah. We definitely need to teach people about it more, and like it just needs to be more normalized, because realizing that and then thinking that that's wrong is like one of the worst feelings, I think.
Yeah.
Even being raised in a really progressive household, I still had some of that, like, feeling disgusted with myself, and I couldn't tell you where that came from. Like, it's just so normalized in our society.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my parents would always be like, oh yeah, like, we accept you, and like, this is a thing that happens. And yeah, they've raised me pretty progressively, but I still found I guess being ace is different because that's one that people don't know about. So that's more of like feeling broken.
Mm.
But like even just being non-binary, I was like, I'm not supposed to be this. Like I'm supposed to be, you know, I'm the I'm the granddaughter. That's what I'm supposed to be. And I was like, no, I don't need to
So
be.
ingrained in our society to make LGBT kids feel like there's something wrong with them. Like, even just heteronormativity, you feel like you're letting everybody down by not being who they thought you were. Like, my family would ask me about my future husband
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
I feel like it would benefit society a lot if people wouldn't just assume their kids are straight. Like, I mean, it would have saved me a lot of issues.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like, yeah, if I wasn't told I was straight my
Mhm.
entire life, I don't think I would have trouble accepting myself for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. It's definitely something that society and people in general need to work on because I don't like again when you're like children don't end up like being LGBT,
Yeah.
you don't really think that like that's gonna harm anybody. But when they do, you start to realize like how like
Mhm.
much it actually affects
Yeah, and it
things.
can be damaging for the parents too, because then they have this moment of like when their kid comes out to them, they have this moment of everything they've ever thought their kid was going to go through is just gone now because they assumed their kid was going to be straight. They assumed their kid was going to be cis. And had they not assumed that, they might not have had that moment
Yeah.
of feeling like they never knew their kid and like their whole future was different than how they intended it
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, well, I think either way, it's still like your kid comes out to you, it's still gonna be like kind of like a shock. But I think it would be less of an like less intense. I think you'd still like have that like shock and like oh like things are gonna be like different, but it wouldn't be as like bad as it might be like if you like assumed that.
Yeah, because at that point, you're in shock of, oh my god, the world's going to treat my kid so poorly. You're not in shock of, oh, everything I've ever
Yeah.
had planned for my kid is gone.
Like, instead of it being shock, that's like, oh, their lives are not going to go how I planned it to go. It's going to be like, I'm scared for the world, not how their life's going to be.
Yeah, subtle topic change because we have the next question to move on to. Is there any LGBTQ plus media you enjoy?
There was there's I can't think of any off the top of my head. I mean, like, do you mean like music or what?
Music, YouTubers, media, anything, literally anything.
What I have listed as examples are books, YouTubers, streamers, media, shows, movies. Um, we bring up Shira a lot. I don't know if you've watched that. Kipo is also really good.
Yes, I do like Shira. I watch.
I'm making it a mission to what's it called, mention it in every single episode. I haven't missed an episode.
Yeah, I watch I watch a few. Like, I watch Shira.
Mhm.
I listen to a few gay artists, like, I mean, queer artists. Yeah. I like, such as Haley Kiyoko and Girl in Red.
Oh yeah.
And and I used to read a lot of webtoons, but that kind of stopped. But I'm pretty sure most of my webtoons were like part of the main characters were queer. Like, most of them, they were like gay or lesbian.
Yeah.
Some of them was like bisexual. Yeah.
I always relate so heavily to bisexual characters, and I think it's because I feel like we all went through a very similar self-discovery process. Even though they're different, it's like really interesting because I feel like I relate to them on an unhealthy level.
Yeah.
Did you read Castle Swimmer on Webtoon?
I don't think I did.
I do. I read that
Oh,
one. That's
that-
one of my favorites.
I love it. It's so every Saturday, that and Lore Olympus. Lore Olympus isn't as like important here because it's not really LGBT, but that and Lore Olympus are what I look to every Saturday. And then if I miss them on Saturday, that's what I read Sunday while I have nothing to do at work.
I recommend what's it called? It's not LGBTQ plus, but I recommend what's it called? Down to Earth. It's like a super good comic. It's great. And then one that is LGBT is what's called My Vampire Girlfriend. It's not My Vampire Girlfriend. It's My Dragon Girlfriend. It's amazing. It's the cutest thing. They go through all of these like cute little one shots. They're amazing.
Oh, cute.
Oh, nice. I used to read this one. Oh, what's it called? I forgot what it was called. It was like one of the boyfriends was Julian, and it was like just slice of life, like one shots about the a glimpse of their
I know
day.
what it is. I know what
And
you're
it's a
talking
pretty
about. I've
popular
seen
comic
that.
too.
I
I
don't
just forgot the
actually read it
name.
consistently, but I used to. Yeah, Robin and Julian. Small World, yeah.
Oh, it's Robin in Small World there.
I used to read that one, and then what's it called?
Mm-hmm.
Adventures of God is good.
Ooh, that one. I want to say. Yeah, there's and then there's the Mage and the Demon Queen.
That rings a bell, but I don't remember which one you're talking about.
It's I do not remember reading it, but I remember I read it like a lot in 7th grade.
Y'all ever read Messenger?
No, I don't think
webtoon?
No.
I forgot about that. It finally finished, so I forgot about it. But it was actually really good, and the main character is a lesbian.
Oh.
It's really cool. I might send that to you
Yeah.
guys.
That's super cool.
Really
I'll
good.
check it out. Acceptance is really good. That one's really interesting. It's a pretty liberal take on gender and stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember much webtoons. I know I read a lot, but I haven't read webtoons since like 8th grade, early 8th grade. So
I don't read them nearly as much as I used to.
Oh, same. I have so many in my library that I need to read that I just haven't. Like Julia Kay's Up and Out. I need to read that.
Oh, Lesbian Empires is pretty funny. It's Always Human. So good. I've reread it like 5 times.
Wait,
to this day, one of my favorite comics. Huh?
Oh no, I was like, do I know Always Human? And I'm like, wait, never mind.
I don't know, yeah, because they use music in such an interesting way, and it's about this like futuristic society, and everyone can use mods except for this one girl. So this girl, what's it called? This girl sees her in the airport, not the airport, the subway, and is like, whoa, she's going for a supernatural look. And it's like this really interesting take on just like being different and what that's like in a society. And it's really interesting.
So I was looking at webtoon. I'm gonna make a list of like some LGT webtoons and put it in our Discord, which people should join our Discord, by the way.
Yeah, link in bio and probably description.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description.
Cool. Yeah, it's really. Oh, Hey, I'm Gay is really good. It's quite educational.
I was just looking at
it's
that.
It's really funny. It's really good to stay away from the fetishy ones though, because there's a lot of that on Webtoon as well, and it's hard to find out what's genuinely LGBT stuff and what's just fetishization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are really gross.
Yeah, I try to stay away from those ones.
Yeah, like LGBT representation is a good thing. Fetishization is a bad thing.
Yeah, there's like
very
widespread, like why does everyone like to fetishize bi girls?
Oh my god, it's so obnoxious.
It's like, oh, you like kissing women, huh? It's like, no, shut up.
Yeah, like you're not entitled to more details about my personal life just because I'm bi. It's not.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Yeah, I feel like that happens with bi guys as well. Not to the extent, but in the same way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just by people in general.
Honestly, just happens to pretty much any LGBT person. Like, I know there, especially like 2014 Tumblr had like a huge problem with fetishizing trans men. I know that was a big issue that everyone got mad about. Rightfully so. Like they should.
Yeah, I've recently actually started to use Tumblr, and most of the fandoms are dead, and it's so weird because I'm interested in Voltron, and Voltron's a really good show, and I like it, but some of the fans, man, they're scary. I try not to be too active in the Voltron fandom.
You say that now. Wait until you get to later seasons.
Jesus.
you need
I've heard the last couple seasons aren't good.
You need to get through it so you can finally understand Mine and Fish's pain.
I understand why people are complaining about it and criticizing it. That's fine. There's just like some people that are really just like, wow, they're scary people.
Oh yeah, a lot of the fandom was really bad.
Yeah, and like the whole like, they were threatening the voice actors too, and I'm just like, I'm ashamed to be a part of this fandom.
Fun fact, Bex Taylor Klaus liked one of my tweets because when that was happening, I put out a tweet about how that's not okay, and they liked my tweet, and that made my entire week. I was so happy about that.
So amazing. They're one of my favorite voice actors and actors in general. They're so cool.
It was great. I'm kind of mad at myself because I stopped liking Bex Taylor Klaus because at that time I was watching Calvin Guerra, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Calvin Guerra, but a lot of his takes are not the greatest. But I was also kind of, I don't know if I would call it internalized ambiphobia or whatever, but I was very trans med at the time, and I definitely don't agree with that. And Bex Taylor Klaus is not trans med, so at that time when I thought that that was the right way to be trans, there's no right way to be trans. But at that time when I thought that stuff, it really hurt me to see this person I looked up to disagreeing with what I thought was right. And now I'm kind of mad at myself because now I agree with the things they said. And I was like, that was a really dumb reason to stop liking that person.
A lot of the people I follow, I like to listen to what they have to say because they're people I admire and respect, and it's interesting to hear their points of view on stuff. But at the same time, I feel like I definitely would have probably done something like that at some point. In that way, social media influencers have a lot of, like, they have a lot of, what's the word? The word for having, like, power over people, that's the word. They have a lot of power over people because they form this, like, parasocial relationship. I'm not going to get into it, what a parasocial relationship is. I'm going to assume but they have this parasocial relationship with their viewers, and when they say something, it is sort of respected because they have this relationship with their viewers. And so to hear that a social media influencer that you admire and respect has said something really blatantly ignorant or something that you disagree with is really interesting.
Yeah. It's, social media is weird, man.
Social media is weird, man. I try not to get too attached to social media influencers because it's very easy to feel like you know them when you don't, because it's their job. Their job is to do that.
Definitely after, like, my whole thing with, like, Bex Taylor Klaus and how I was so, like, let down by this opinion that I now agree with, and, like, the way I liked Calvin and Guerra stuff, after that, I kind of, like, realized how bad, like, idolizing actors and celebrities and internet personalities was, and I definitely, like, made myself cut that shit out because it wasn't good. It just wasn't good, because then anything they do that you slightly disagree with really gets to you.
There's a difference between respecting people and just idolizing them.
Idolizing idols, like, celebrities is so common, and it's terrible because, like, you see all of the bad things they've done and you're like, but they're celebrities, so it's okay.
Yeah,
even specifically celebrities, they almost have to be held to a higher standard because they have so much power.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, just after all that stuff, I absolutely hate how much people are idolized, because then when people idolize you, you can't make a mistake, even if it's like
and that's how cancel culture, wow, English, was born, which is like the polar opposite of idolization, and that's also a problem.
It goes too far.
Like, they need to be held accountable because of that power they have, but not to the extent that they're run off social media platforms.
Yeah, it's not good. The internet's a scary place.
The internet is a scary place. So, subtle topic change again, because questions. So, how does your identity affect you in, like, a day-to-day life? Does it, specifically?
Well, it doesn't really affect me too much, but it's kind of hard to find, like, date when people are like, oh, you're you're straight, right? No. Because it's just, again, like, it's so heteronormative, just, so it's kind of hard to find other gay people, and when you do, it's like, yay.
I feel like when I tell people I'm bi, they see it as an excuse to just continue to be heteronormative towards me and refer to any future partner I might have as he, because that, in their mind, that's the norm. And it's just frustrating.
To be honest, I do that to myself all the time. And and then people just, like, kind of ignore the they part of she they all the time.
Oh yeah, that's so frustrating.
I haven't had that much of the problem because I just now started using two sets of pronouns. But even when I did just have the they them, a lot of people just ignored that, and it sucked so hard.
For a lot of people, they don't mean to be, like, misgendering you, but then they do, and it's like, okay. And then you, like, correct them multiple times and they still don't get them, they still like keep doing it. Like I get, like I mean, I
Yeah.
don't get if you've known them for your entire lives and like they just came out. I get like misgendering like for a bit by accident, but like when you've corrected them multiple times and you've been out for a while, it's really harmful.
Yeah. I think people using she they pronouns gives other what's called like people see it as an excuse to just see you as cisgender because they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I know when I see people that have two sets of pronouns, I normally try to go for the they, but a lot of people they and I'm pulling out these. I know a lot of people don't like these terms, but I'm pulling out these terms for a reason. Like if a AFAB person like me who has he they
Mm-hmm.
in their bio, a lot of times they might want the he more than the they. So like because people always say like, oh yeah, use they when you see someone with the like he they because that's probably what they want more. That's not always true.
Yeah.
And so,
It's usually best to just ask.
it is best to just ask, but when you're just like a quick interaction or something, or you like because if it's just in their bio, a lot of times like sometimes like I put the one I prefer more in front, so mine says they he because I prefer they more than he. But also if I see an AFAB person whose pronouns will say he they, I'll go for the he more than the they.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure they don't get called he as much as they would get called they or probably misgendered with she.
Yeah.
That makes sense in my head. I don't know if that made sense to you guys, but it makes sense to me.
That made sense to me. I hadn't heard that people didn't like the term AFAB though. I thought that was a pretty generally accepted term.
A lot of people don't like when you talk about non-binary peoples and their assigned gender at birth, and they're like, a lot of people say it's an unnecessary thing to know, and I'm like, in some conversations it is, but when you're talking about non-binary issues and issues, stuff like that, it is sometimes important to know. Like in this conversation, it's like a relevant thing that helps add to the experience, and I know I've definitely heard the like phrase, how does it go? It's like because being when you're AFAB and you're non-binary, you're not a woman, but you still have a lot of those woman-aligned experiences.
Yeah, that's what I was
You
thinking
know?
about because sometimes it is relevant to bring up if you if you're not passing as a you are gonna still be affected by women's rights issues because nobody's gonna stalk you at night and then be like, oh, you're trans? I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'll go stalk someone else. My bad. I thought you were a woman.
Yeah.
And even though there's times before you came out, like, sorry, I'm trying to formulate my words. Because not a lot of people don't come out till later in their life, and they're still gonna experience those issues that come with their assigned gender at birth. Like, a lot of AFAB people are still gonna like know all the experiences about um like female puberty and like all those things that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still gonna identify with that experience, but they're not gonna identify with the gender.
Exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes I shouldn't talk about that experience, but at the same time, it's like it still
You still
affects
experience
me.
it. Yes.
Exactly. Even if I'm not a woman, I'm perceived as a woman by strangers, and that's where it's important.
Even if I'm not a woman, I'm still affected by things that affect women.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't like when assigned gender at birth is brought into conversations, but in some conversations I don't want to say it's necessary, but it adds to
Yeah,
it.
I think as long as everyone's okay with their assigned gender at birth being discussed, I think it can really add something to specific conversation.
Yeah.
If it's relevant and everyone's okay
Exactly,
with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually we're out of questions, so if I just looked back to look at questions and we're out of questions.
You're not out of questions. You missed one again. How did you come out?
Oh, how did you come out? I did miss one. If you came out, how did you come out?
If you came out, it doesn't always have to be to family. It could be like friends. Too.
Oh, okay. So the way I did it was super weird. I was like, you know what? Frick it. Let me just see if I'm bisexual. And I decided that this is the worst way to find out. Like one of the worst ways to find out if you think you're like in the LGBTQ community. I looked up an online test to do it. And then
everyone does.
And then I got like a
Everyone
97% bisexual. I'm like, okay, maybe I am. And then this is around the time where I was like, wait, but I can't see myself like having sex with a woman or like like a AFAB. So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm biromantic. So I told all of my friends, not all my friends, I told mainly my like LGBTQ like my queer friends that I was biromantic, and then they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Okay, that's cool." And like they were super accepting, and none of my friends really cared. Like they were like, "Okay, that's cool." And then like around the time I got to my pronouns, I was like, maybe I don't fully identify with she her because like it's fine, but sometimes it's like I want to be they them. I don't know how to explain it. Like yeah, it's hard to explain, but I started testing out they them pronouns with a few of my friends and it ended up working out, but I still preferred she her. So I started going by she they, and that was kind of set in stone for a bit for since then. But only like a few months ago I was like, wait, I can see myself doing everything I would do with like a man or like an AMAB like with a woman. So I am bisexual, and then I've like and it's kind of been set for a while, like that I'm bisexual.
Yeah, that was. I didn't know the word bisexual when I was discovering stuff, so I thought I was just bad at being gay for a really long time.
Oh no.
Yes, it was. What's it called? That was a time in my life, and then I also took an "Are you gay?" quiz, and it was like you're bisexual, and I was like, I feel like I've heard that before, but I don't know what it means. So, yeah, good times.
I don't like when Are You Gay quizzes don't have like ace on them. I also don't like when Are You Gay quizzes don't understand the difference between romantic and sexual attraction, because I'll get heterosexual on a bunch of them, but I'm not. Like I'm demisexual.
Yeah.
I feel like they default to straight as well. Like if you, cause there are like the clearly straight answers, so people take the test and then click the obviously straight answers and then go to sleep confirmed in their false heterosexuality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one I took actually had like it was like a graph and there was like a point. I don't know. It was so weird. It was like a graph. There's like
Oh, I think I know that
aromantic,
one.
asexual,
Oh,
heterosexual,
that
and
one.
then
That one
like
was.
gay.
I was there when we all
And
took
then
that test.
oh no, I took this like before I met you guys.
Oh, okay, because like we collectively took that test, and it was just such a terrible graph because it wouldn't let you be asexual and biromantic at the same. It was a horrible test.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because I know one of my friends got asexual, and it was just like it wouldn't let you be more than one thing at once. It was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Weird.
English. I didn't recognize my attraction to women as like actual attraction for a really long time. I thought I just really wanted to be their friends. So that was a bit of a learning
Yeah,
curve.
same.
I didn't know what a crush was. I thought that was just what friendship felt like.
I knew what a crush felt like, but I didn't realize like I've had that on women before.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020, man. I look back at how I acted when I was in like elementary, middle school, and I'm like, how did I not know? Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm taking a what is your romantic attraction quiz because I don't even know how to label it.
How to label it?
'Cause I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Frick if I know. I'm taking this quiz to figure it out, man.
I've only dated one man. I don't know. No, but these quizzes always say people of the opposite or people of the same gender. I'm like,
Ugh.
what do I put?
That is.
That's another. These quizzes are always so
like you can only be this or that.
Cis-centric.
Very black and white as well.
I'm going with opposite.
Yeah, I took an Are You Non-Binary quiz once, and I was like 4 points away from being non-binary, and I used that to justify to myself why I couldn't possibly be non-binary.
Oh my god.
Interesting.
Because yes, quizzes determine that.
They are kind of helpful, though.
They are helpful.
They can also be hurtful.
Yeah.
They are helpful, but they're also kind of hurtful because, like what you just said, like, oh yeah, I use that as my thing is like, oh, I couldn't obviously be this.
It was something I hid behind for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can be really helpful when you're still trying to figure everything out, though.
I don't like that question. It's, would you continue dating someone after finding out they're trans?
Ugh, I don't like that.
I don't like that
How
question.
does that help you determine your sexuality? That's a weird hypothetical.
I don't know.
That just like gave me like oh my god, yeah, it's probably not like too related. It's
Oh
like
God.
super straight.
Yeah, what's it called?
I don't talk about that thing because
Yeah.
it's bait.
Like, I don't really
Mhm.
care if you don't want to date trans people like that. That's your thing. Just do whatever you want, man. But, like,
Just don't
super
be
straight
hateful.
implies that trans people aren't the gender that they are. And that's where I have an issue. Like, you cannot date trans
Yeah.
people. Do whatever you want.
Mhm.
Like, I could care less. I couldn't care less. But, like, don't imply that trans people aren't the gender they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so hateful too. There's a difference between you being like having a preference and just being transphobic.
Yeah. Also, this is a thing I want to talk about for a long time, and that question about like would you date if this partner if they came out as trans, kind of like made me think of that again. Is I don't like when people assume that your gender has to affect your partner's sexuality, because I'm gonna use the example of me and my boyfriend. My boyfriend is straight, right? But I'm non-binary, and so after I came out as non-binary, so many people are like, "Well, you have to be bi or pan, or are you bi or pan?" He's not, and my identity, my identity doesn't affect that.
Mhm.
Especially
Yeah.
non-binary is included in all sexualities, first of all, but secondly, you can still love someone, and then they can come out as trans, and then you can still love them. That doesn't mean that you are. Because I can tell you, my boyfriend is not attracted to other. He's not attracted to other guys. He's not attracted to other times. He's just attracted to me. And when we were, before I came out, I was a woman. So he is straight. And
Yeah.
that me changing my identity and label and coming out as something else doesn't change that. Obviously, if you're in a relationship and your situation's like mine, but that makes one or more of the people in the situation uncomfortable,
That's different.
then that's not gonna, like, obviously that's where there's a problem. And yeah, if it makes one or two of the people uncomfortable, like I've definitely seen people who are like, it's like this, but they don't like that their partner still identifies as straight, because then they think they still see them as their assigned gender as birth. And if that's how you feel,
Mhm.
and like that's your relationship with it, yeah, I get it. Like, then you want someone who has a different like sexuality. But if that's not, then that other person shouldn't have to change their label, especially because it's not always going to be accurate.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the people themselves.
Yeah.
On how they feel. Like it's not any of their business to know, but it's also just like maybe talk about it with them
Mm-hmm.
if you're in that relationship, if you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not for anyone else to decide. It's definitely something that the people involved in the relationship need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, this quiz just told me that I'm WTF romantic. You're just simply not sure of your attraction yet. Honestly,
Yeah,
I don't know how to label it.
use bi because I think that's the closest to what I am, but honestly, I think queer fits better. But when I'm talking about my experience, it aligns with bi a lot better, and it's
Yeah.
just easier for other people
Same.
to understand when I use that label.
Yeah, I've been on and off. It's like, am I queer? Like, I don't know what I identify with yet. Right now, I'm just saying bi, but I don't know.
Honestly, finding labels is hard.
I mean, I don't think people really
Yeah,
need labels.
why
Like,
do labels
if you don't want a label,
exist?
don't label yourself. Up to you.
Same.
And with that, I've been Cam, joined by my co-host Nova and our guest Suva. Peace out, friends.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.